Hey everyone, this is Andrew at Plainview Farm. You can probably tell based on what's sitting behind me over here that we are getting ready to take a couple passengers for a ride. So I'm going to get the cub started up and we're going to go down to the far pond and see if we can't use what's in the bucket here to coax the ones that we need to come back up here by the gate. I'll tell you what, in the little bit of time, pigs know that I got a bucket out. Anyway, in the little bit of time that I've had this cub around here, I've been using it just about like a four-wheeler, which is pretty handy. We'll pull out the choke. Back out here. Actually, while I'm sitting at the gate, I think I'll get my panels situated. Maybe. Maybe not. Okay, here we go. As you can see, I still have not done much pasture flipping. And that's who we're looking for right there. Looking for our goat kids. Hey goats. Hey goats, 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 goats. Shake the bucket a few times. Oh, and look at them come. We'll hang our bucket back there. Come on, goats. Come on, Ruby, bring them on. Bring them on, Ruby. There we go. Here they come. We may have to shift into third gear just to stay ahead of them. Yeah, there we go. Come on, goats. Come on, goats. Trying to catch that bucket. Okay, here they come. First things first. Close up our panels. Yeah. Watch out, goats. Ow! Stepped on my toe. Stop it. Gotta get these two little boys in there. Come on, Moon. Okay. That's cool too. Well, that's not good. Here, Mooney. Chase him back in there. All right, so I'm going to call this good enough. I should be able to catch the kids that I need to toss them in. The two smallest kids are going, two little billies, and then we have one little doe over there against the fence. And then we have two more billies over here. I'm just gonna send two of those. And the reason I'm doing that is because I sold everything else, and this is coming up on Labor Day weekend, which is generally a good auction day for us here in this part of the country. So I want to try to get these kids, get them moved on, get them sold at the auction. I did sell all the other kids that we had to individuals through, you know, local ads, that kind of thing. And that went really well. So it's actually a pretty good feeling. You know, the only thing we have left are the few kids that are here right now. Like I said, we're going to haul them off today. As long as that one doesn't run off. Let's send him back where he goes. He's actually got a dirty bottom, which hopefully that won't affect the auction too bad. I wormed him here the other day. He should be good, it's just, you know, an appearance kind of a thing. I know, dude. I know, buddy. All right, see if we can get hers to go on in there. Everybody's gonna go in there. See if we can catch her in the crowd. Come on, out. Everybody out. Hold it. Come on, babies. Come on, babies. Okay, ready to start the next set. Come on, goats. Oh, man. Come on, boys. Come on, boys. Not you. Not you, boy. Not you, boy. Nope. You go on. Come on, goats. Come on, Bailey. Come on, goats, 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 goats. Like I said, there's always got to be one little black one over there not coming in. Look at there. Went easier than I thought it would. Come on, goats. All right, you boys go on out. Out, 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 out. All right, so we're ready to go. Got 5 goats in there. Like I said, there's 4 billies and 1 little doe. Those 2 little billies in the back right there, they were born Memorial Day and going to the auction Labor Day weekend. So how about that? Now, all I need to do is grab me a cup of water and we'll be on our way. So, I've got about an hour drive. Pick this up when we get there. Okay, so I'm here, I'm unloaded. I guess we'll go inside and just wait. I'll try to get some footage of when mine go through. Lots of goats and sheep in here today. Here come mine right there.
$3 bill, 3, 10, 20, 30, 3, 30, 40, 50, 3, 60, we go 70, 80, 90, we go 90, 3, 80, 90, 3, we go 90, 5, we go 90, 3, 90, we're picking up now 90, now 90, now 90, now 90, now 90, 380. 275, 575, but give us 75, 275, 80, 280, 280, 280, give 80, 75, 80, about 80, 275, 80, give 80, about 80, about 80, about 80, 75, 80, 275, Ronnie 1, Ronnie 1, Ronnie 1. $2.95. Now about that $3 bill. $3.90, $3, $3.95 again on $3, about $3. Now $3, now $5. We're going to $10. We're going to end about $3, $5, $10. $3.10. We're going to about $3, $5, $10. We're going to about $3, $5, $10. $3, $5, $10. $3.05. $3.05. B1 $3.05. 245, out of 245, she's a girl. 245, 240, now 5, 245, 5, out of 245, 245, 240, now again, 5, 245. Now 50, you got a bid now, 250, 45, that'll begin now 55, 60, do it again, 5, 70, 270. 65, that'll begin a 75, that'll begin a 70, 70, 265. Ronnie 1 at 265.
All right, so made it back. Actually, it's the next day. But I made it back home. My goats sold, and I have here my ticket. And I'm gonna go over some numbers with you here, just kind of real quick to let you know how I did. And I'll be sure and try to put this up on the screen for you there. So I sold 5 goats total, 4 billies and 1 doe, which they show her on here as being a nanny. Nah, she's a doe. But I mean, you know, try not to get too caught up in the way that they list them. They're just trying to identify them in some form or fashion. But so the 2 billies that I mentioned earlier that were born on Memorial Day, they weighed an average of 35 pounds apiece, and their price that they brought was $275 per hundredweight, which that translates into $2.75 a pound, for a total amount of $192.50. The 2 older billies, they weighed a total of 115 pounds, or an average of 58. They brought $3.05 per hundredweight, or $3.05 a pound, for a total of $350.75. And of course, our doeling, who, as I said, is on here as a tan nanny, she weighed 40 pounds and brought $2.65 per hundredweight, or $2.65 a pound, for a total of $106. The grand total, the gross amount that these goats brought at the auction, was $649.25. And after you deduct the fees, total charges, which is $61.94, I ended up with a check for $578.31. Now, if you, or $587, I'm sorry, I got that backwards, $587.31. Now, if you do a little bit of quick math here, $587.31 divided by 5, that comes out to $117.46 per head is what these goats brought. Now, I'll tell you this, these goats, they were the last of my kid crop this year. I did, as I mentioned before, I am keeping one. We're keeping Pearl. She was just too pretty to send on down the road. But the rest of the goats, we sold to individuals. We sold 3 billy goats to individuals and 3 doelings to individuals. We sold, and I'm trying to do this by memory, I didn't happen to grab the piece of paper. So roughly what we sold those for, we sold 1 buck for $450. We sold another for, I believe it was $300. Then we sold another for $225. Then you add in the 3 doelings, which I sold those for, I think, $200 a piece, if I remember right. Anyway, the point is, selling them to individuals, they brought quite a bit more. However, what they brought at the sale barn isn't anything to sneeze at, so to speak. especially those two older billies bringing over $3 a pound. The market has been a little bit lower in our neck of the woods. Not that long ago, it seemed like they were bringing well over $3 a pound. Most of the goats that I watched at the sale yesterday brought under $3 a pound. So it feels pretty good to have two of them that actually broke that $3 mark. So with that being said, one other thing that I wanted to mention here was that goats are definitely worth raising. And the reason is because they're bringing prices that are comparable with cattle. And cattle don't always bring those prices. Cattle are up and down. Goats have been, generally speaking, have been fairly consistent for the last, I don't know, 15 years or better, at least around here. And they do really well, all things considered. They bring a really good price. So they are great if you need something to supplement with your cattle. You're trying to stack as many things onto your acreage as you can, or at least that's what I'm trying to do. I've got goats, I've got pigs, I've got cows, and they all, in some respects, with the pigs maybe not so much, but they all kind of share the acreage here. We're trying to stack up and make as much as we can off of the land that we do have. The cattle and the goats, they do not compete with one another so long as your stocking rates are good. The cattle will primarily eat the grass. The goats will eat the browse or the weeds, the brush, that kind of thing. And they don't really compete with one another. You can do the same thing with sheep and goats, or you can even run sheep with your cattle. They may compete a little bit closer than goats and cattle will, but they still will work in tandem with one another. They work together, and they improve the land. It helps in the long run. But as I was saying, it's definitely worth the trouble. There are a lot of people out there, whenever they talk about goats, all they think about is animals getting out. Now, my perimeter fences are high tensile electric. I've got 7 strands of high tensile electric, and I once told a guy that I keep my goats in with 7 strands of high tensile electric, and he kind of chuckled at it like I was making a joke, and I looked him in the eye and I'm like, no, seriously, I use 7 strands of high tensile electric. And those 7 strands of high tensile electric have been more than adequate for keeping in those goats. They have done a great job. The goats understand how the electric fence works. They understand that they don't want to touch those wires because they're going to get shocked. I alternate between hot and ground wires, so if they try to go in between the wires, they get shocked. You know, that's the point. And that does a very good job at keeping the goats in. So I didn't spend a lot of money on woven wire fence around the perimeter of my property. I've got high tensile electric, which is relatively cheap, and I've got some videos on that if you want to check those out. But as far as that goes, the expense of trying to keep goats in, trying to keep them from escaping, that really hasn't been an issue. I just added, some extra wires to my fences. It really hasn't been that big of a deal. Now, of course, you do have to deal with parasites. You have to try to control worms, those kinds of things. But you know what? You have parasite issues with any animal, and the better job you do at managing the animals, keeping them on a rotation schedule, the better that you're going to do. Now, I haven't always done that so well, so naturally I've had to do more whenever it comes to worming them and trying to take care of the parasite issue. But there's a wasp flying around me right here. But the overall point that I'm trying to make here is that goats are definitely worth it. I've mentioned in previous videos that this year I haven't sold any cattle. I've not sold any cattle, and the goats have paid for the hay this year. The goats, I kind of almost, maybe I shouldn't, but I kind of almost think of the goats as like a little bonus enterprise on the farm. Of course, we don't raise goats to sell direct to consumer. We do take them to the livestock market. Everything else on the farm is a direct to consumer type deal. And we're trying to expand that cattle operation in that way. Instead of just selling livestock for breeding purposes, we are now moving into a butcher beef market. So we're trying to grow that. Like I said, this year, the goats, they paid the hay bill, not only for the goats, but also for the cattle. And the major bonus to that is I haven't had to sacrifice any pasture that would normally go to cattle in order to support the goats. The goats are eating things that the cattle are going to pass up whenever they're grazing out there in the field. So if you are looking for some sort of supplement to your cattle operation on your farm, again, as long as you have the fences to hold them in, and it doesn't have to be anything crazy expensive, as long as you have the fences to keep them in, you can run goats and you can do well with goats. So as always, I hope you found this video to be enjoyable, if not useful, and if you did, please do me a favor and hit that like button. If you have not yet subscribed to our channel, I hope that you would consider doing so. We would appreciate it very much. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.